Welcome to the module Financial and Organisational Management. In this first submodule, we will focus on fundraising. We will begin by defining fundraising and what are some of the challenges NGOs face when seeking funds. We will briefly mention different types of fundraising, and we will take a closer look at crowdfunding, sponsorship, membership fees, and transnational funds. Lastly, we will discuss what is expected from your NGO when managing a grant received from a donor. The central learnings of this submodule are: there are many different options available for NGOs to raise funds for their activities. Which types of funding you should choose will depend on your organisation's capacity, needs, and types of activity you carry out. Transnational funds are some of the most well-known fundraising methods, and they can allow your organisation to develop activities which are more complex, with a longer duration, and create greater impact. Fundraising is the act of gathering funds in order to support socially impactful activities. Fundraising refers to a wide variety of activities, but it mostly comes down to gathering funds from individuals, foundations, government agencies, funds, and businesses. It's important to highlight that it differs from financing, which is the technique many for-profit companies use to gather capital in order to pursue their core business. There are several significant challenges to fundraising that you as an NGO leader should take into account. One of the most significant challenges is directly affected by society's perception of a problem. If donors are not convinced that there is a problem or that it is not of a magnitude that warrants concern, they are unlikely to provide any support. Another important factor to consider is your credibility. You need to be able to show that you understand the issue you want to address and that your organisation is able to deliver the activities that you want to fund. Furthermore, the fundraising world is very competitive because there are so many worthwhile causes. So when you seek to raise funds, it helps to look at how you communicate your mission and vision, how you build relationships with stakeholders, how well you know your potential donors and their objectives, and what you can offer them. In addition, it can be difficult to convey your idea to your donors in a convincing way, as they don't have the same understanding of the local context as you do. Therefore, you need to pay attention to describing your project proposal clearly and accurately, and justifying the impact of your action. Securing funding is needed for the proper functioning of your NGO, and there are several different categories of resources that you can tap into, such as membership fees, donations or sponsorships, national and transnational funds, online crowdfunding, fundraising events, interests and dividends resulted from the legal investment of available funds, and income from direct commercial activities. We will begin with crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is a method of raising capital through the collective effort of friends, family, beneficiaries, and individual investors. In the context of this submodule, crowdfunding is referred to as funding through social media and crowdfunding platforms. How to start a crowdfunding campaign? When creating a crowdfunding campaign, there are several things you want to consider. You should pick a theme that resonates well with your mission, vision, and core objectives. The theme should be well-timed, catchy, and appealing. For example, if Children's Day is near and your organisation works on child rights, you can start a crowdfunding campaign and take advantage of the fact that there is a lot of content already floating around social media, so it will save you effort to make your cause known. It could also be useful to map your network and define who could be your advocate or ambassador, who can spread the word, and who can actually donate and make others donate. To learn more on mapping your network, take a look at the submodule on networking in organisational management and strategies. You will also need to prepare communication material for different target groups in a focused manner. Decide on timelines to utilise this content and platforms where this would go: emails, telephone, face-to-face, social media, your NGO's website, and so on. Remember to keep the communication going during and after the campaign, not just before. Post-campaign. After the campaign, be sure to show the achieved results from the campaign and how the raised money is being used. As mentioned, crowdfunding uses online fundraising platforms, and some examples are Global Giving, Start Some Good, and Chuffed. Global Giving is one of the largest crowdfunding communities and connects NGOs, donors, and companies in many countries around the globe. Since 2002, Global Giving has helped raise more than $396 million for over 23,000 projects in 170 countries. However, when applying for donations for the first time, your NGO has to raise $5,000 from at least 40 different donors to earn an ongoing spot on the platform. The online crowdfunding platform Start Some Good employs a fundraising model that is called all for nothing. This means that donations will not be processed unless a campaign hits its fundraising target. The reason why this model is integrated within Start Some Good is to secure less risk for donors, reassuring that they won't be charged unless a project earns enough to launch. Both of these platforms charge a support fee of 5% of raised funds and 2.9% for processing fees. Chuffed is an online crowdfunding platform that was created exclusively for NGOs to raise funds for social causes, and it does not charge campaigners anything to use its services or post a project. Donors are required to register and pay transaction fees, which are usually around 3% of the total amount. In order to support itself, the platform suggests to donors to donate a small sum, but that is optional. Another method for fundraising is sponsorship. A traditional definition of sponsorship is to make a contribution, most often financial, to a property, typically a sports, entertainment, and non-profit event or organization, in return for exposure and visibility among certain target groups, strengthening brand image, getting more involved with the community, recruiting and retaining employees, and so on. For example, you can get sponsorship from a local retailer, bank, or even local sports club who are looking to give back to the community and to increase their visibility in the area. You can also contact your local media and see if they would agree to provide you with free media coverage that would help increase awareness about your NGO's activities. However, it's not enough to sell your mission to local sponsors. You should be able to create a proposal based on your NGO's promotional value. Sponsors must be able to see that the commercial opportunities of your organization and trust that you can present their brand in a positive light. Here are some points to consider when creating a proposal for a sponsor. Do you keep in touch with your followers through email, website events, newsletters, social media, or advertising? Do you know who engages with your cause and why? What do you know about your demographic? What are their needs and concerns? What is your competitive environment? Are other organizations similar to yours getting corporate sponsorships? Create a list of local businesses and institutions headquartered in your area. Who are they? What do they produce? And to whom do they sell? What are their mission and vision? And how do they align with yours? Is your organization entrepreneurial? Are new ideas welcomed, and do they receive thoughtful consideration? What kind of experience do you have with organizing events or promotional activities? Based on the answers to these questions, you can create a proposal for potential sponsors by giving them an idea of how you can help them build brand visibility, improve relations with the local community, and create a positive impact. Another type of income for NGOs are membership fees. The fee is a voluntary payment made by a prospective member willing to become part of your NGO, and the amount depends largely on the size and scope of activities of your NGO and, in some cases, government regulations. There are many different structures of membership contributions. You can have individual fees, group fees, family fees, and you can also differentiate between members with statutory right and supported members, and so on. Obligation to pay the fee and other procedural provisions concerning this source of income must be provided in the legal statute of the organization. The major advantage of the membership fee as a source of funding for NGOs is the predictability of expected income, which can secure the organization with correct planning of activities and related resources. However, when asking for a fee, you must consider what you can offer in return. That could be a specific set of services, rights and opportunities for participation in activities, access to information or resources, etc. There are countless numbers of transnational funds that you can tap into, and listing them all would be a nearly impossible task. Therefore, for the purpose of this submodule, we will only mention a few examples. The European Youth Foundation, EYF, is a fund established in 1972 by the Council of Europe to provide financial and educational support for European youth activities. Only youth NGOs from Council of Europe member states, as well as the European Cultural Convention signatories, Belarus, Kazakhstan, and the Holy See, can apply to the foundation. The Nordic Council of Ministers is the official body for intergovernmental cooperation in the Nordic region and has a multitude of grants for different purposes, one of which is a funding program for NGO cooperation between the Baltic Sea region countries, which includes Denmark, Ireland, Finland, Sweden, Estonia, Belarus, Lithuania, Latvia, Norway, Poland, Faroe Islands, Iceland. The Baltic Sea Conservation Foundation, BALTCF, is a private civil law foundation registered in Germany, and its purpose is the conservation of nature and the protection of the environment in the Baltic Sea and its catchment area. Another example is the World Bank, which is like a large cooperative made up of 189 member countries and focuses on poverty reduction and the improvement of living standards worldwide. It also supports civil society organizations through 3 different funding mechanisms, which are Global Partnership for Social Accountability, GPSA, World Bank Procurement Framework, and Community Connections Program. In addition, the EU as well has a broad range of programs that fund a variety of actions in all sectors of a country's life. To see a complete overview of all the EU funding opportunities, you can visit the European Commission's website and search for the different calls in the menu for funding and tenders. Some of the funding programs that you might already be familiar with are Europe for Citizens, Horizon 2020, Creative Europe, European Regional Development Fund, and Erasmus+. Between 2014 and 2020, the Erasmus Plus has been the EU's programme to support education, training, youth and sport in Europe, and it provides opportunities for a wide variety of individuals and organisations. The programme supports a variety of actions in the youth and education sectors, some of which are central and are directly managed by the European Commission, while the rest are decentralised and entrusted to the national agencies in each member state. National agencies are responsible for providing information on the programme, reviewing applications submitted in their country, monitoring and evaluating the implementation of the projects, supporting people and organisations taking part in Erasmus+, and promoting the programme and its activities at a local and national level. In the case your project is approved by the funding institution, you will receive a grant. Grants are obtained on the basis of a bilateral agreement signed between your NGO and a funder, which may be a public or private institution. Signing the grant agreement is usually based on a request for funding made by your NGO asking for a sum of money to be used to address the problem you identified and the solution you presented in detail in the project proposal. The major advantage of the grant as a source of funding is that it secures your potential to develop activities with a more complex and longer duration, thus with a potentially greater impact. Once you have attained a grant from a donor, you have to organise and plan your work carefully. You can divide the project tasks into 4 main phases: contract review, implementation, reporting, and monitoring and closing. 1. Firstly, assess the terms and conditions. What are the rules and regulations you need to follow? What are the important milestones or deadlines in the agreement? Make sure you are clear on every point and are aware of the responsibilities you have towards your donor. What is more, should you need to make any changes in the course of the project, always discuss with your donor whether that is possible. 2. When implementing, the project setup and adapt systems to manage funds as per contract. Also, make sure the activities covered in the project proposal match the activities you carry out and the amount of money spent. It's no good putting 10 workshops in the proposal and then only carrying out 5, and the cost is the same as 10. 3. You should also continuously monitor and report your activities and expenditures. Keep donors informed, maintain project accounts, make financial and narrative reports. In some cases, it might be possible to transfer between different budget lines in the agreement, but always consult with your donor first. 4. Once you are closing the project, make sure to prepare final accounts and reports for the activities you have carried out and send them to your donor. We have now reached the end of this submodule. Let us sum up the lessons learnt. There are many different options available for NGOs to raise funds for their activities. Which types of funding you should choose will depend on your organisation's capacity, needs, and types of activity you carry out. Transnational funds are some of the most well-known fundraising methods, and they can allow your organisation to develop activities which are more complex, with a longer duration, and create greater impact.